Bonjour, hi, and welcome to episode 2 of the Step Over podcast. My name is Josh. Thanks for joining. We've got a packed episode today. We got not one, but 2 great chats coming up. Double chat. Part 1, chat 1, is with Eddie Benhin, who is the co-founder of 613 Sports. You're definitely familiar with that website if you're a sports fan at all in Ottawa. And if somehow you've missed it, 613 Sports, look it up. Eddie's one of those guys who, to be honest, makes me a little angry because he's both more talented and driven and younger than I will ever be, which it's kind of infuriating, to be honest, to have all 3 of those things kind of just shoving that in my face. I give him a pass for this chat. So we're going to talk a bit about 613 Sports, how that got going, talk some soccer, and as a bonus, we also solved the Hans Island dispute between Canada and the Dutch. So soccer and diplomacy all in one nice little conversation. And then following that, part 2, chat 2, we're chatting with Nic Ryan from Atletico Ottawa. We're going to learn a bit about the Powered by Atletico program. That's kind of his baby right now. At the time that we talked, Ottawa South United, as well as the Ottawa City Soccer Club, had both been announced as partners. Since then, the Gloucester Hornets have also been announced as partners. So all 3 area clubs are now under the Powered by Atletico umbrella. So you're going to hear us chat about what exactly that means for soccer in Ottawa. It seems like Atletico is really doing a lot to entrench themselves into the soccer community. And we'll also ask him a bit about some of the roster updates. There's players who are confirmed returning and some notables who aren't coming back this year. So we'll talk about that. There's rumors of a leaked full lineup. Kind of wish that had been leaked when I talked to Nick. Could ask him about that, but, you know, what are you going to do? Anyways, 2 great chats coming up. First up, Eddie Benhin from 613 Sports. Play button now. Hey, thanks for joining.
No problem. I'm excited.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to give you a bit of an introduction. How's that sound?
Sounds good with me.
Okay. So Eddie, you are the founder of 613 Sports.
Yeah, co-founder.
All right, co-founder. So you've done, podcasts, videos, the website, which, has become really it's become a pretty big part of the sports scene in Ottawa. And how old are you right now?
I'm 21.
Jesus Christ. Oh my God. When I was 21, I was like, maybe I'll do teaching.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just happened as it is. It's weird.
You've had 613 Sports for what, like 3 years?
Since 2017.
Oh my God. Yeah. That's awesome. That's just really impressive. So obviously, I got a lot to learn from you. I guess I want to ask you, why did you start 613 Sports?
Yeah, so we my friend and I, Cameron, co-founders, we decided that we wanted to, try to get our foot into media, sports media in high school, and we contacted Ian Mendes for any tips, and he said to create a blog. So we decided, there's a lot of Sens blogs, a lot of specific blogs, but there's nothing about the sports scene in general. So we decided to create 613 Sports. And then we realized that all the other sports teams, like the soccer teams, and when we had baseball, there was like little to no coverage with them from any newspapers and stuff. So we decided to jump on that and start making our own coverage. And surprisingly, a lot of people started following us. With Ottawa Fury, we quickly became like the #1 blog there, and it's just taken off from now. So now our whole goal is just providing content for teams that don't really receive the mainstream media attention.
It must have been like a steep learning curve, starting a brand new blog. What were some of the first things that you learned?
Yeah, we quickly learned that connections are everything in this thing about with networks and building tips and getting, guest writers. And I remember we first started writing ourselves, and then we realized hey, maybe other people would like to help write for us. And we asked around in different communities, and we got, Red Blacks writers and some OHL writers. And as we realized that, more people actually want to write, they just don't have somewhere to write. We just all right, this is our platform. This is you're the main show here. But it was hard breaking into the scene, getting consistent views. I honestly still don't know how we built our fan base right now. It just came out of nowhere, but we just slowly, just kept being consistent. And that was our whole thing we learned quickly on. This consistency is what got us pretty successful.
Was making connections something that you were, just kind of good at from the start? Or have you kind of learned how to kind of open some doors for yourself?
Yeah, I feel like I'm a pretty open person. I build connections pretty fast. So I felt that me personally, just going on Twitter, using the account and just hitting up different people and just having conversations, it was pretty easy for me. I can't really speak for my friend. I think he had a little bit harder time, but but it was pretty easy to me and pretty fun too, to meet new people and see that there's actually a huge sports media world that I never even knew about until I started this blog.
Like, has there been anything that's been, I guess you're 4 years in now to it, right?
Yeah.
Has there been anything that's kind of like surprised you about this project of yours?
I think it's how much people actually appreciate the content. Like, sometimes when I'm writing stuff, I'm like, okay, who's going to actually read this? And then I post it and people are like dissecting the article and having debates about it. And I'm like really, that's about me. Like, because we're so used to seeing on TV, like actual professionals, and people were like learning from me. I remember I interviewed Nic Ryan from Carleton before the CPL draft. And when the CPL draft happened, I saw people were quoting my own article. I'm like, wow, like that feels pretty cool. I was not expecting that.
Yeah. I mean, that's a neat feeling, eh?
Yeah.
So this is a soccer podcast that you've kindly joined. So do you play?
Yeah, I play. I think I'm starting up again next week, Tuesday. I've been playing all my life. So.
Okay. It's like, what leagues are you joining?
Footy sevens.
What's your favorite dome to play?
Dome.
Yeah.
I grew up playing in Louis Riel Dome.
I never played in that one. How does that compare to some of the ones like kind of like, West End or like center of the city?
Yeah. I mean, I think the best one personally, well, no, there's one in U Ottawa, which is where this footy sevens are. That one's all right. Ben Franklin one is one of the best. Like, that one I really enjoy. That's
you like that one, eh?
That's a really good one for sure.
I like the quality of that field, but I find that there's no airflow. I always feel like I'm just like,
yes,
it's like my sweat just like just sticks to just sticks.
Yeah, it's like that. Same with Louis Riel. But yeah, Louis Riel, yeah, I grew up playing there a lot. It's big. I remember there's a track around there. So there's a lot of things going on. When we used to play soccer games, it's like really high energy because there's people running track meets and stuff, and just so much energy around there. So it was a really entertaining place to play in.
Right on. Where do you usually play? Like, what position?
I started off as a defender, and I've slowly moved up to CDM, center defensive mid.
Okay, right on.
Yeah.
Usually like join in on the attack or anything like that?
Yeah, I like to surprise with some long shots. Sometimes it goes in. Most of the time it misses, but
that's my only offense. I usually play deep. And like if I don't surprise the goalie with like a nice long shot, I'm not like, I think inside the box I've scored because someone shot it off my ass and it just bounced in. And that's my go-to. Like if it's off my boot, it's going wide.
Exactly. I mean, I've scored some goals from far, and that's my little pride. But a lot of times, you put me in front of the net, I'll probably miss it.
So you're born and raised in Ottawa. Eh?
Yep.
So in terms of soccer as a spectator, event, like what was your first experience? Like, did you watch any of the semi-pro teams before the Fury started, or is Fury your kind of first experience with that?
I remember when I was small, when the U21 World Cup was in Ottawa. I remember watching a couple games of Lansdowne, and that was like the first time really I saw, soccer here in Ottawa. And I mean, growing up, I remember there was Capital City in the really short Canadian League, and I remember I was a ball boy for one of the games, but I never really followed it. I remember it was against Montreal Impact. That's all I remember. The Impact fans chanting in the back, and I thought they were crazy Frenchies, but it was cool. It was a cool experience. And then all of a sudden they disappeared the next year. I'm like, oh, like right when I wanted to get into it, there wasn't there. And when Ottawa Fury came, that's when I really got into, the Ottawa sports professional scene. And then here we are now.
Like your experience with the Fury, was there anything that you learned, working with them? Was there anything about the soccer business, kind of writing about that you learned while the Fury was here?
Yeah, Fury really showed that Canadian soccer has a tendency to market it differently than how soccer is supposed to be marketed. It's more, they tried the hockey strategy or football strategy of just make it a family friendly event, or having to create events to draw people in, like a Harry Potter game day or Avengers. And they didn't really realize that soccer is a sport where it kind of creates its own entertainment. The fans bring it themselves. The people come there for the soccer game, not really for other things. And the game day experience wasn't really that. I mean, just simple things as putting the supporter section on the other side of the field, or keeping it away from the fans. It's like in a city full of so many immigrants that follow leagues around the world, they expect something specific with soccer. And when they came to the game experience, it just didn't feel like it. It didn't feel like a professional soccer match, and that kind of drew people away. And that's what I really focused on and didn't like about the Fury, is that they didn't really focus on that marketing, that, hey, this is a professional soccer. We're going to, harness that European environment, like the culture that people expect here, but it never really happened.
I found in the first year or two, I thought they actually kind of did a good job with that. And then they kind of veered away. Did you find that?
Yeah, I mean, the first game they had 14,000 people and the fans, and the thing that's what really bugged me, that Ottawa, there's so many soccer fans here, but they refuse to go there because they go to the Fury game and they're like, I don't know. It's just, I don't know. This simple thing as a supporter section. I remember my first Fury game I went to watch live. The supporter section was behind the net on bleachers, and then the next year we're on the other side, and I'm like, when you're only pulling around for 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 fans, why are you separating people that much? And I just never understood that. Get people close, create a hostile environment. And I saw it when the Canadian Premier League was created and we played against Halifax. Those games were so intense, that high energy. It was an actual soccer town. And I mean, I think Atletico Ottawa's done a great job so far with building that environment, and the fans seem to be a lot more into the team than with the Fury.
That's fair, yeah. So you were never at a game where where the supporters were in Section W, eh?
No.
Yeah, no, I found that was it was great, because I was never, I've never been one of the crazy supporters,
Yeah.
But also I was kind of new to all that, so it was a little bit intimidating, and it was nice being able to kind of drift in and out and kind of enjoy the crazy atmosphere there, and then go back to my seat,
Yeah.
And I'm sure that those groups gain more people while they were kind of amongst the rest of the fans rather than being separated. It must have been just so disappointing for them to not have that access to more potential.
Because it's hard, right? Because if you're on the other side of the field, I mean, if you're new and you don't know anyone there, it's kind of awkward to go walk across to somewhere else and be with people you don't know, versus in your Section W, the sections around them, they're not in the section, but they're still around there and they can experience it. Or you can, like you said, walk in, stay for a bit, and walk back out, instead of, you're on the other side of the field. You're going to have to walk over the bridge or walk around and go back. And it's just, they felt excluded. And I mean, supporter section is a huge part of soccer. I mean,
exactly,
the ultras. Yeah. And it just, something simple as that is why is this separated? That's kind of separating the sport and the fans.
It felt kind of like they were monkeys on display,
yeah,
as opposed to being part of the circus.
Exactly, because I mean, the sports section, yes, they create the noise, but they're also the leaders that get the rest of the crowd going. I mean, because the crowd is bigger than the supporter section in anything you look. I mean, you go to European, the sports section is one small thing, but they get everyone going. And I mean, at the end of the day, if you're just see people are who are those people across the field just waving their flags like weirdos? There's nothing, you can't even hear them half the time. It's kind of just. It just really confused me. I never understood why they did that, especially because the supporters group kept asking, can we please go back? And they said no. And it was a whole mess.
No, I agree. I never understood that. And I really hope that Atletico Ottawa, it sounds like based on the seating charts that they gave up before, everything hit, before everything hit the fan, they're moving supporters back with the rest of the fans.
Yep.
So I'm really curious to see just how many people they're able to draw once we're able to actually get people in, and hopefully they can get that kind of feeling of people gravitating towards the supporter atmosphere.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you. So the CPL season, we don't even know if it's gonna we don't know if it's gonna happen. We don't know. No one seems to know what exactly is gonna happen. And I was wondering if you had any thoughts, what do you think it might look like? What do you think they might do?
Yeah, it's weird because, I mean, they first announced that they plan to open up on Victoria Day weekend. And then Jeff Hunt comes out saying if we can't have fans, we're not going to have a season. And I don't think they want to have another Island Games. I mean, financially, I don't know if they can do it.
No.
But I think Jeff Hunt is right that they need to have fans this season at some point of building that. I don't think they can play behind closed doors, especially with the travel that goes on. I mean, you have teams Pacific having to go to Halifax. I just don't see how they can do that with no money coming in. I think May, we probably won't have fans, but I think as we hit the summer, we can probably have some fans coming in. I mean, you look at TD Place as a 20,000 seat arena. I'm sure you can fit like 2,000 socially distanced. So I do believe a league will happen. I think they're going to have to take some cuts somewhere, but I'm not really sure where. But I think we're going to be playing at our own stadiums, and probably schedule will be fit in the early stages where you're not traveling as much. So we might probably see a lot of Forge versus Ottawa and on Ottawa versus York versus, games like Ottawa and Pacific, or maybe longer road trips where you go Ottawa, Edmonton, Pacific, and then back to Edmonton, stuff like that.
Yeah, I wonder if you're right, because it feels like a season has to happen this year. I don't think they can really, I don't think the league can afford to not have a season with, or have a season with no fans. Such a ticket revenue driven league. I am kind of curious if they'll start with no fans, and under the assumption that they will have fans at some point, and just kind of place their bets.
I think they'll only start if there's a clear timeline of when fans will come back. So I think if the league knows okay, at June we'll have fans, then they'll start. But if it's maybe, I don't see the league taking that gamble.
Have you thought about what might be some cool ways to put on a season? If it is going to be an abnormal season, if it's not going to look the way that they want it to ideally, have you thought about what might be some things that they could do?
I mean, it's hard, right, with a pretty new league and this thing going on. But I like what they did last year with the ECPL, with the FIFA games, how it really created a hype. I was really surprised that a lot of people were tuning into the games, and the fans were having a rivalry. I remember Ottawa was playing Halifax, and Halifax fans were trolling Ottawa fans and vice versa. So, I mean, something like that, have, esports going on at the same time, or other events, trying to help the youth soccer, if that's going on, trying to get them more involved. It's really hard to be creative because we're such a big country here, and with the rules, with the rules, who knows, we might be able to watch at bars, watch parties, but we can't go to the stadium to watch. It's just really weird. So I don't know if my opinion is, for away games, we should just have watch parties at Lansdowne again, like what we did for the Island games. If Ottawa's out west during that afternoon, obviously everyone goes to the stadium, lawn chairs, and watch on the screen. That can drive some tickets as well. Yeah, I don't really have anything to the top of my head, which could be really super creative.
Yeah, I mean, I think the key is creating revenue through fans being able to buy tickets for some kind of socially distanced event. I hope it's for games. It might not be fair for places like Halifax where they play in a 5,000-6,000 seat stadium. So they can only have maybe a few hundred, or maybe up to 1,000, whereas we could have 6,000 spread over this gigantic stadium. Yeah, I wonder if they would have so something I was thinking is maybe if have every team travel from city to city and just play every game in every stadium, and have it kind of feature each stadium over 8 weeks or something. And then what you were saying, every team at their homes could host some watch parties and sell tickets to those, to watch their team play.
Actually, that actually would be a really cool idea of going from city to city, little hubs.
Yeah, exactly.
And then that provides people a chance to go watch games before they can. And then that also provides a different timeline, because different provinces, different timelines with COVID. So
exactly,
if BC is ready before, then they can have fans, people will play there. Maybe we can watch parties here, then it slowly moves around Canada. And I think actually would be a cool way to grow the league as well, gaining hype and being able to, watch a bunch of games. It can also cover for last season where a lot of people missed.
Well, exactly. Yeah. And that way you get people can see their team playing in their own stadium. And you could also have kind of socially distanced festivals, maybe,
like soccer festivals. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I had another thought. So the NHL had their outdoor games at Lake Tahoe, which was it was super cool. The ice quality was garbage. I'm not sure if you saw that.
Who knew the sun could melt ice?
I know.
I never thought about that.
No one saw it coming. Sun, hockey's mortal enemy.
Typical NHL though.
But it did get me thinking. If the CPL were to do a game at a really unique venue somewhere in Canada, where do you think you would want to see a really picturesque game played?
All right, so if we're, just imagining and not actually thinking about the cost of setting up
We're
a
not
field.
thinking about cost because
Nope.
this is
So
we realize this is stupid. It's
all right,
going
so
to
then
cost
perfect.
more than the league more than the league budget. But money's no object. Where do you want to see a cool CPL game?
So number one spot obviously is going to be in Canada, Ontario. I mean, what a beautiful place there. But
it's the most beautiful place in the world. Besides Stittsville, Ontario, it's
exactly.
Yeah. So Canada's the second prettiest place in the world.
But real answer obviously has to be Banff, Alberta. I mean, like that place, the scenery. I don't know what beats that. Again, if you clear downtown out, playing right in the middle of the streets with the CN Tower in the background, that'll be pretty cool. Or PEI on the water and with the bridge in the background.
That'd be cool. Yeah,
that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah,
a lot of nice places again. I mean, Canada's so big, you can go in the middle of the forest and probably have bears watching. So
exactly, yeah. So I obviously had more time to think about it. I think they should go north, and the reason why is I want them to play at this one particular island. I think it's called Hans Island, and it's between Baffin Island and Greenland.
Oh,
you know about this one?
Yeah.
So it's the one where I guess Canada and the Dutch, both lay claim to it.
Yeah.
So I figure if we play a game there, then it's like if we build a soccer field there, it's ours.
Or just play a game against the Dutch for the rights. Winner takes all. There we go.
Boom. Just push the CPL out of this. We're gonna have the Canadian national teams, Dutch national teams,
and we'll make it men's and women's. So it's
exactly, yeah.
Combine the scores.
Exactly, just do an aggregate.
I like that idea. We should write that down.
That's how all wars should be played.
Play soccer.
Just play soccer. All right. So we're gonna change the situation. So we're gonna think about a zombie apocalypse situation. So you're very familiar with TD Place.
Yes.
You spend a lot of time there. I have too. So under this zombie apocalypse, you have to barricade yourself in either the north stands or the south stands at TD Place. Which one are you choosing to set up camp?
Ooh, I think it has to be south stands. I mean, north stands just a flat, just seating. Like, well, what are you going to do there? Just have to create a giant wall. I mean, south stands, you can just hide little places, a lot of different areas there. I mean, when I watch games, obviously we're on the north side, but I mean, south side has to be better for zombie apocalypse. Just little sitting place, different levels to it as well, so they can't really see you, versus just north stand where it's just all the way down. Zombies will get you everywhere. Huh? That's my answer right there.
That's fair. I see your point with having like the higher position to scope out. The north stands though, I was thinking it's got because it's got the Civic Center too. I feel like it would have more supplies, right?
You're right, Civic Center. Oh yeah, that has to win it then because the Civic Center. I forgot about that. You can just go through at the bottom.
But Southside probably has better Wi-Fi.
Ooh,
it's the more modern facility.
It's true, better Wi-Fi, but but Civic Center.
It's also a tough one, and you have the suites on the south side.
True, but you have the hockey arena though. You can just go in the locker room.
I know, but there's a lot to consider here.
That's a hard question. South side is newer, but north side has deeper roots in Ottawa.
And I feel like it's got like more, like it's got more space.
It does. More space,
like,
it does.
And you have like you're gonna have food stashed away in concession stands, but you're also gonna have even more in the Civic Center as well.
Exactly. No, I think the Civic Center.
Sustenance.
Yeah, the Civic Center has to. I forgot about that completely.
Plus, you can do laps. You can run around.
You can do everything there. You can just hide. Yeah. I mean, the Wi-Fi is pretty good there.
Eh?
The Wi-Fi is pretty good there.
So the one thing, and I don't know this, and I've always wondered, is if there's anything built underneath Cheapskate Hill. Because I used to live near there as it was being built, and I don't know. I thought that there might have been something underneath there, and I don't know if that's true. Maybe
they're hiding stuff
starting
there.
A rumor.
I think they're hiding stuff there. I don't think they like to chase people off the hill for a reason.
Bunker. I don't know.
A lot of people are drawn there for a reason. Who knows? Maybe just some magical powers there.
Maybe, yeah. Okay, so I think are you going?
I'm changing my answer. I'm changing my answer to north side just because of the Civic Center. I can hide underneath the ice if I need to.
Okay, so tell you take north, I'll take south, and Perfect. We'll just work to connect the two.
Exactly. Let's make a bridge over the top.
Exactly. We'll work to secure the underground parking because I think that connects both of them.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, it does.
Yeah. Or we just meet someone who lives in the condo tower.
Too bad Jeff Hunt moved out. Could have used this.
Jeff, come on, man.
Jeff, man.
Jeff. All right, so zombie apocalypse over.
Perfect.
Pandemic's over.
Perfect.
Okay. Yeah. You and you've been to your first game in, I don't know what it's going to be, if it's 18 months or 2 years, whatever. Where are you heading to celebrate?
Oh,
gotta go on Bank Street, south on Bank Street, different part of the city, Byward Market.
I think I'm going to go to Joey's first, celebrate there, and then after hit a Byward Market.
Okay.
And
you're 21 though, so that's really more. It's really more your area.
That's my area, I know there's a lot of bars around, but Joey pregame, Byward another pregame, and just see where the night takes it.
Okay. I think I'm heading out into. I think we can get some pierogies at House of Targ and playing some pinball.
Ooh, that's a good one too.
Yeah. Well, I think that's all the questions I had for you. I guess I'll end with, what do you like? What makes you hopeful for the next year?
Yeah, I'm really excited to see how this team grows in terms of the fan base. I mean, right from the launch of the team, I saw how many more people were there and interested in the team, and the talk around people who never talked to Fury were, asking me questions about this new team. And I'm just excited to see how many people show up to the games. And if there's a chance that it actually catches traction, because Ottawa is a soccer market. It's a huge city here. You look at footy sevens, the amount of people playing from different countries all around. And if people are able to come and support this team, Atletico Ottawa could be the biggest team in the Canadian Premier League. There's no doubt about it. I guess Ottawa has Ottawa is the fourth most populated city, but
yeah, fourth, fifth. We kind of duke it up with Calgary.
But we have a 20,000 seat arena. I want to see, at least half of it filled, and I think we can do it. And I'm excited to see this team, an actual professional team where you're playing against other Canadian teams and getting hyped around it and building rivalries with other teams. Going to road games. There's just so much that brings with it, and I'm really hopeful that we can at least see some fans in the stadium just to go back to normal a little bit.
Just want to thank Eddie again for joining us. And I highly encourage you, if you haven't been to his website, 613 Sports, somehow, 613sportsblog.com. Really great website. You can follow him on Twitter, Instagram, at 613_sports. There's a YouTube page as well, podcast. They do it all. It's a must follow. Just do it. For part 2 of the pod, I reached out to Nic Ryan from Atletico Ottawa. As I said in the intro, the new Powered by Atletico program that regional clubs can sign up to participate in. That's kind of his baby. So with 3 clubs already announced, definitely wanted to ask him about that. It seems like a really important evolution in the pathway available for soccer players in Ottawa. I think when Atletico was first announced, obviously, the pro club in Ottawa, they're going to be the top dog in the region. But it sounds like this Powered by Atletico program, instead of making them kind of like an island on their own, this program feels like it's maybe making bridges to this island and maybe making really important connections between them and all the regional and as many regional clubs as possible. Anyway, so we talked to Nic about that, talk a little bit about Atletico's roster so far. So let's keep this going. Here's Nic Ryan from Atletico Ottawa. So Nic, part of scheduling our chat meant working around your dog's schedule. I know this is supposed to be like a soccer podcast, but I feel very strongly that I need to know more about your dog. What's your dog's name?
My dog's name is Vezina, like the Vezina Trophy in the NHL.
Okay.
Which goes to the top goaltender in the NHL. So I always thought of it as a future daughter name for maybe if I have a kid in the future, but the dog came first, and the fiance and I agreed on that as an awesome name. So yeah, she's little Vezi or Vesna is her full name.
Right on. So what kind of dog?
She's a mini golden doodle. She's about 15 pounds. She's filled with hair right now, but getting groomed actually this afternoon.
Okay. And how old?
She's just turned 3.
And most importantly, is she a good puppers?
She's a really good dog. Yeah, she's a great little pup, and she has lots of personality, but she's very, very well behaved. Little yappy when people come in the door, but that's dog life.
Right on. Yeah, I just got completely distracted. I was like, I need to ask about your dog.
Awesome.
Just actually, no, that's going to be my next video project. Will be just like soccer dogs.
That'd be awesome. I mean, back in the day, the Fury did the dog day at TD Place, right? So hopefully with Atletico Ottawa, we can have the dogs back in the stadium, and maybe that could be a good feature for you that day.
That'd be fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So now that I know about your dog, I feel better about moving forward with this interview. So you work for Atletico Ottawa, Nic. Can you talk a little bit about your role within the club and like how you came aboard?
Yeah, definitely. So right now my title is director of ticket sales. We're tight knit right now, small team. Obviously we didn't play here in Ottawa this year, so we didn't have a whole chance to hire a bunch of people. So I've been doing everything from anything you see that's the public facing stuff, marketing, PR, and then on the ticketing side as well. But we haven't had a chance to sell tickets. So I've actually kind of pivoted out of my role that I got hired for, which is director of ticketing, and moved into doing everything on the social, the marketing, the PR, some of the player liaison stuff. So, wearing a lot of hats right now, everything from the entry level jobs to the executive level decisions, that kind of stuff. But I did work for the Ottawa Senators for 2 years in the ticket sales role. And then prior to working for the Ottawa Senators, I actually worked for Ottawa Sports Entertainment Group, focused on selling tickets for the Ottawa Fury, the Ottawa Redblacks, Ottawa 67s. So I had 4 years of ticketed sports entertainment experience. Worked events like the Grey Cup, organized a ton of cool soccer events at TD Place. And when I left Ottawa Sports Entertainment Group and went to the Ottawa Senators, I kept falling back into soccer. I kept wanting to go to Fury games. There'd be a Senators game that night that I'm supposed to work, and there'd be a Fury game on the same night, like on a Wednesday, and the few odd Fury games on Wednesday. And I would literally, make sure all my people who have tickets are in the building at the Sens game, and then, drive right to TD Place and get there for the second half of the Fury game. So when the opportunity came up, I had the small connection with Jeff from working at Ottawa Sports Entertainment Group in the past. Asked him for a meeting. We had a couple meetings from there, and I showed him how I was passionate about getting back into soccer, and hoping to improve the game in the city for all levels of soccer. And lucky enough to be granted the opportunity, and been doing it for a year now. And again, haven't been able to sell a ticket yet, so not what I got hired for, but very rewarding, learning a lot of new things, and trying to keep the Ottawa fans happy. And that's no easy task, but we're getting there. And hopefully once we get on the field and things are smoothing out, we can really prove to you what we've been building.
I mean, the last year hasn't really made your job easy in terms of, making us happy, selling tickets, but it sounds like you've been doing some awesome work. And the main reason that I asked you on is because of the newly announced Powered by Atletico program, which is sort of in your wheelhouse there.
Yeah.
So I was wondering if you could talk a bit about that and what the program means for soccer in the region.
Definitely. It's a newly announced, pretty unique program to us, something we developed in conjunction with the team in Madrid. And the whole goal of the program is to grow soccer in Ottawa, to have more kids playing soccer in Ottawa and more kids exposed to the professional game in Ottawa, as well as to create a direct path to professional soccer for all kids in Ottawa. In addition to that, we really, it's important for sports teams and organizations like ours to be out in the community and to be interacting and getting not only our name out there, but contributing back to the people who are going to hopefully contribute to our success here in the city. So the program revolves around creating partnerships that with local soccer clubs. We're open to all sizes, any clubs we want. We want kind of as many partners as possible in the fashion that we can still give the most to them without spreading ourselves too thin. Sorry, before I move any further, there's a whole nother portion that revolves around the opportunity that having a parent club like Atletico Madrid presents, which is we have a lot of opportunity to bring teams and kids and coaching staff to Madrid and to share the expertise from Madrid down to soccer people in Ottawa, the teams in Ottawa, the coaches in Ottawa. So that's a whole large side of it that hopefully we'll get to realize in the next couple of years. We've kind of realized it's probably not going to have a whole ton of benefit other than the online interactions right now. But what we want to use it for is to get out in the community, to have the strong bonds with the community soccer clubs, because it's great to go and talk with all the people at the local soccer clubs, and you say you're going to do all these great things, but until you put it on paper and you announce something like we're working with this club closely to be out in their community, to get them to games, to give their kids an opportunity that may have not been there in the past in Ottawa. It's a work in progress, to be honest. We're still finding out how we're going to figure out to engage them fully this year. Say if there isn't an opportunity for a lot of fans at games, and maybe we're not allowed to go to community events and have our players there interacting with their players just due to the current situation. But we're forming the bonds with the community, and as soon as we're going to be out there putting those bonds into action and being out in the community.
So what's the goal for the end result of this program to be? So say, you have a kid who's 5-6 years old, is with a club who's, powered by Atletico club, moves through that club, grows up, is the goal for basically this kid has more opportunity to turn pro or have opportunities to turn pro because they've been with a club that's part of this program?
I think there's a whole lot of ways to measure if the program is successful or not. One would definitely be having an Antoine Copeland or young players that grow. Say they're 12, 11, 10 right now. We play our first season in Ottawa this year. They start to see our product and develop and get more passionate in soccer and put more time in. And yes, definitely getting them on trial with the club, potentially awarding them with a contract, potentially having them join, Atletico Madrid academy teams, whatever that looks like. That's definitely one portion of it. I think there's a whole other side of it, and that's really more the community side. If we find 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players that end up playing with Atletico Ottawa, that is phenomenal. That's definitely an important side of it. The other side is, we want to see soccer participation in Ottawa grow. We want all the partner clubs and to be honest, every other club that maybe isn't a partner to see increase in membership because there's a professional soccer club here. We also want those clubs to grow and be better and have, coaches that know more and feel more comfortable coaching and providing new ways to practice and train, because we've been there. We've had their coaches at our field. They've been training with Mista or our assistant coaches and our goalkeeper coach. So there's a lot of ways to measure, if it'll be successful, how it will be successful. Really, it revolves around the community aspect, the growth of soccer in Ottawa, and then the pathway to professional soccer. So those would be, I would say, the three measurables. If we can do 12, 14, 18, 20 community events in a season where we're at different fields every week or every 2 weeks, if we can have Ottawa local players trial with the team and get a contract, if we can have all these clubs increase membership, those would be, in a dream scenario, those would be the three main ways we would be able to measure success on the Powered by Atletico Ottawa program.
Is the target to get every regional club on board and part of the program?
See, we're battling with that one a little bit because we only have so many resources at our disposal. We only have so much time with players and coaches and ways to get out to all these clubs. We want to have a relationship with every club in the city. We want every club to feel like they're recognized by us and we contribute to their success and they contribute to our success. I don't think it's realistic to say every single club is going to be an official Powered by Atletico Ottawa partner just because there's 20, right? We'd have to be one every single week going to their field with our players, which I just don't think is realistic. But we do want to develop the program to where we can have every club involved in some way, in some fashion. It's going to be unique to every club. Not every club is going to see benefits that other clubs are going to see from it. So it is, like I said, a work in progress on that front. But any clubs that show interest, any clubs that want more information, any clubs that want to talk to us, the door's open. I'm responding to messages on Twitter about it, on Instagram. I'm getting emails about it. So people know where to find us, and we're doing our best to interact with all these clubs through the Eastern Ontario District Soccer Association, which is, from the top down, where we're looking to have, and we have in the past, have town halls with all the clubs where, it's myself and the CEO and Jeff talking to all these clubs in a whole room where they can ask all those questions. But I mean, ideally, as many as possible, as many as we can fit in, as many that are interested in their own customized way can definitely be powered by.
So the release that was put up by the club said that none of the clubs that take part in the Powered by Atletico program should be conceived as being a reserve or a academy side for Atletico. So OSU was announced; they were the first club,
Yep.
and the day that we're recording this, you announced that the Ottawa City Soccer Club is the newest partner. But OSU specifically, both their PLSQ teams are now branded OSU Atletico. So I'm just curious, like what if they're not considered a reserve side or a academy side, like that seems like a pretty significant partnership, though, to have them, to have their top teams branded with Atletico.
Yeah, it is, and they were great partners with us in our first year. We did a lot. They honestly helped us out a lot, as we didn't have a ton of resources with our staff coming here from Spain. Not a lot of employees of the club, things like that. It was a quick startup. We started in February. There were supposed to be games in early May, right? And even in early April, away games. So we needed all the help we could get. They stepped up. Other clubs stepped up as well. We had lots of great interactions with some of the big clubs in the city. OSU Atletico is a product of a strong bond that we built over the summer with OSU and wanting to show that they're going to be a strong partner for us as we grow the club here. It's more of a branding affiliation exercise. Affiliation might be the wrong word, because Impact had affiliation with the Fury and they sent players to us. That's not what I mean by it. I mean, it's more of a branding impact where there isn't any other clubs in the Ottawa area that have a PLSQ team. So right now. So, there isn't going to be a position where another club is, say, an Atletico name plays an OSU Atletico. So we thought they were kind of standing on their own. They have that caliber of team, and gave them opportunity to put the Atletico name as a part of it. That's pretty much it, to be honest. There isn't and the whole reason we specified Reserve Team Academy, because it's not something we are looking to do in the city. We're not looking to set up shop and start taking the registrations away from the other clubs in the city by putting up an academy. It's not part of the plan.
Okay, so that was going to be my next question, actually, was whether or not there was going to be some kind of academy set up. So that's not part of the plan.
No, not at all. We're here. We're the professional team in the city, and that's what we need to focus on right now.
So I want to shift gears a bit. Atletico also recently announced what players would be returning for 2021 and who is not. So the 10 players returning: Brandon John, Bastien Neufville, Milovan Kapoor, Keyshawn Ferdinand, Ben McKendry, VD Martinez, Antoine Copeland, Tevin Shaw, Malcolm Shaw, and Omar Bernardino. But three notables not on that list: Malik Hamilton, who's moved on to North Carolina FC in USL League One, and Ben Fisk and Nacho Zabal. So to most fans, these all seem like players Ottawa would want to keep and build around moving forward. And so I was wondering if you'd be able to shed some light on why Ottawa wasn't able to make it work with these three players in particular.
Yeah, I can do my best to definitely share some info. Like I said, we're a tight team there. So the thing, we're really excited to have the players we have back. I think we announced 9 returnees, and then Keyshawn Ferdinand's a new player we announced right on loan. So we're really excited to have all the players back, and we definitely wish all the non-returning players, the players that are out of contract, all the best in the future. Thank you for everything that they contributed to the club this year. In professional leagues, and we saw it with Ottawa Fury and USL, and we've seen it with a few other teams in the CPL and going from 2019 to 2020. There is some roster turnover, especially with a club like ours who, we put together a roster in a very, very short amount of time, and then the world flipped on its head, and we had to add a whole bunch of players last minute, and we didn't know when or where our season was going to be, and it was a ton of unknown. So the roster we went into the Island games with, while we were comfortable with it, I'm sure you could see based on some of those games, like Mista left substitutions on the board, right? There was times where in an ideal year with an ideal full roster, we would have been using all, I guess there's 5 substitutions, but at least 3 substitutions to bring in some new players. It's hard to say exactly every single reason why some of these players didn't come back. I think the thing to focus on is there's a lot more to come in terms of this roster and what we've built, and fans are going to be very excited with some of the new crop of players that's going to join the roster. I can guarantee that. Yes, there's going to be some notable omissions, as there is with a lot of clubs that go year to year to year, especially for us in a year where we haven't even been a club for a year. We played 7 games. There's not a lot of pedigree to put that behind. So, some of the favorite players and our first captain, may not be coming back in 2021. There's a lot to look forward to, and just be a little patient. We just need a little bit of patience, and everyone, I think, is going to come out very happy. We do wish we could have made things work with some of these players, but it's just the way that the world of signing players and roster turnover kind of works at this level. It's exciting, to be honest, for me. There's a lot of good things down the road that are gonna pop up for us.
Good things down the road. Like, are there players who have agreements with the club right now who haven't been announced that might be on their way?
We have some players in the hopper here that we're working on announcements for.
Okay. Like in a normal year, it might be.
And sorry,
I'm not sure if you.
I heard your dog a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
And
someone rang the doorbell. I'm not sure what's going on.
All good. And keep in mind, with our coaching staff that came here, they're all from Spain. Same with our boss, like my boss, Fernando. Like, they're from Spain, and the CPL only had 1 season before they got here. They're not super familiar with the way that the game's played in Ottawa, right? Or in Canada as well. And CPL soccer, yes, I'm sure they watched game footage and they're all soccer professionals. They've all been involved. Yes, they have a good idea, but there was a lot to learn in that first year for everyone, right? For our whole team. So I think they're taking a lot of the things they learned and they're going to put it to a really good team going in 2021.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things about this past year is that, it's not just Atletico, it's everyone who's having to learn how to do business during a pandemic. Like, no one's had to do that before. Like, I guess my question is that's got to be a challenge to run a club in a pandemic.
Yeah.
What challenges has that presented to you that might not be so apparent to people on the outside?
Yeah. First, I mean, huge props to the Canadian Premier League for what they did this year, having a second-year league, and being able to set up shop in a province that there isn't even like a team that we have in the league, and putting together an awesome show like the Island Games was. I thought it was phenomenal. There's some leagues, in the world that didn't get to play. If you look at and kind of a weird example for a soccer guy, but like the National Lacrosse League just had to shut it down. And they didn't play the rest of their season, and then they've canceled their 2021 season. And it's kind of a product of what's going on right now. The CPL, and it's along with the owners of all the teams, everyone came together to make this awesome event happen. And so we had Canadian professional soccer in 2020. And I think that's really important to going to 2026, to continuing the league after a pretty successful 2019 season. The league also gave us an opportunity to sell what was called the Collective. So it gave us an opportunity to drive some revenue for the club, which is really important in the first year. So that was something that I luckily got to sink my teeth into, and I didn't get to sell tickets, but we got to put the Collective out there, and there's still some stuff to be delivered on that, which we have and will come. We're going to put a really awesome mural up at TD Place. But there was definitely a ton of challenges. I mean, it starts off with the story everyone's heard a million times, but the team last flight out of Madrid to get to Ottawa. That's a challenge. How do you come up with that, right? I mean, I don't know how many new franchises in professional sports around the world started in 2020, but if we got us all in a room, I'm sure we'd all sit there and really talk about how it's the weirdest year to start a brand new franchise. I think overall, Canadian professional soccer, the CPL, did a great job to get through this, and we really hope that there's the opportunity to have fans and play games at home and all that kind of stuff. And I think there will be. I'm hopeful, and we're still discovering the new challenges every day. I'm sure there'll be something that comes up in a few days. If we're looking to have training camp where it's obviously had always been planned to be in Madrid, what are the challenges going to be if we end up going ahead with that? So there's a lot of interesting things that still come up, but the Canadian Premier League and the team in Madrid and the ownership here really made it, not, I don't want to say easy, but we really worked together. Everyone came together to accomplish the weird challenges and the things that came up trying to start a professional soccer franchise during a worldwide health crisis.
That was Nic Ryan from Atletico Ottawa. Of course, we want to thank him for joining. Some really great info there about the Powered by Atletico program. And it also sounds like we're going to get some more player confirmation soon. And interesting tidbit that the club is not planning on starting a academy. Academy not in their plans. If you have any thoughts about anything that came up in the conversations with Nick or with the conversation with Eddie, let us know. You can reach out at the Step Over Podcast on Twitter and Instagram. You can email too if you want at the stepoverpodcast@gmail.com. And that will do it for this week's episode of the Step Over. Thanks for joining. Please like and subscribe. Apparently, if you give this podcast a good rating, I guess that helps. I hear that at the end of all these different podcasts. I should really look this up and maybe find out exactly what I should be doing. But I'm going to parrot what they say. So like, subscribe, give 5 stars if you want. There's no pressure, but I'd love it. Anyways, look for our next episode. It's going to be a great one. Until then, we'll see you.